So I am with Eric Holmberg today. He is our structural engineer. We are in our Carlton Woods project. This huge wall here, I think it was 18 feet by 22 feet wide, was removed after his engineering report. Took him a while. I want to talk to him about, why you should never take down a wall like this without somebody who knows the science and math behind it and do all the calculations. Because as you can see, instead of one, we use two steel columns on each side. So 4 steel columns and 2 steel beams, and one is 14 inches, one is 16 inches. So Eric, why is 14, why one is 16?
Well, there's a lot of math behind it, but if you were to take the span and the load in combination with each other and run all the engineering calculations behind it all,
Okay.
the depth of the steel beam is largely what controls the beam's flexural capacity and its capacity to resist deflection.
Okay.
The deeper a beam gets, generally the stronger it gets.
Okay.
And the beam furthest from us right now is the 16-inch deep one, and it's because it has more load on it.
Okay.
While they're the same span,
Okay.
the same length of beam, there's more load trying to deflect and bend that 16-inch.
Let me tell everybody this too, first of all. This is a huge house. This house is 3 stories. There's a lot of weight in this house.
Mm-hmm.
What would have happened if I put 10-inch?
10-inch beam, if it wouldn't have failed, it would have deflected too much. You would have unsightly downward motions, cracks in your drywall. You would feel it as you walk over the area.
Okay.
Whereas these beams have been designed to where they still deflect, but the deflection's imperceptible to, just walking across it. Even if it didn't fail, it wouldn't meet the code defined minimum loads.
Okay.
So if those loads ever did actually occur, the beam would fail.
Okay. Failing means what happens if it fails? Well, give me the most
of course.
worst case scenario and the best case scenario. Best case scenario, it's going to bump a little bit as we're walking.
Yeah.
Sheetrock.
Yeah. Best case scenario, you get a little bit of localized yielding where it starts bending a lot more very quickly.
Okay.
If it gets to be too much load, you have a catastrophic collapse.
Okay.
And
to the point where people die. If
that could happen, yes.
That could happen, okay.
Yeah.
And then all these steels, they have, it's not just a steel beam, right? When we called the place, we said, you told us you got to order this. And they had 600 different types of steel columns and God knows how many different types of steel beams.
Yeah. So I think what you're talking about is like when it comes to a 14-inch deep steel beam, basically there's 2 main things you spec because they've simplified how you spec steel beams. You specify the depth of it.
Okay.
So W14 means 14 inches deep.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a second part, which is the weight per foot. Mm-hmm. And you can back calculate from weight per foot what the area per foot is. So you can think of it as, in some regards, from an engineering perspective, it's the depth and the area per foot of beam.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
So we have your engineering report. We're going to give it to the client. They love it. They met you. Right?
Yes.
Those 3 screws up there, huge ones.
Mm-hmm.
Did you also put the specs on that?
Yes, I did.
You
yes.
did.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's even the screws.
They're called
diameter.
They're called through bolts.
Okay.
Yeah.
And even that diameter is something you calculate.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
On top of being screwed, we also welded those.
The shear plates or the screws or the bolts themselves?
Yeah.
The shear plates welded.
Yeah.
And then did you weld the through bolts or did you just tighten them?
I think they're also welded.
Also welded. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's not a problem. What that helps with is if you welded both sides of it, the little tack welds on there will prevent turning or loosening of the bolt over time.
Okay. As you can see, we started to think about this project. I think I brought you here back in March, beginning of March. Am I right?
That sounds right.
And then how long did it take you to prepare this report, this engineering calculations?
It took us a little bit to get going on it, but once you gave me the go-ahead and everything like that, I think I had it done in, it was probably about a week.
A week? So this is what it usually takes? You do the math?
For something like this, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you do the science, math, whatever behind it, and then you come up with a drawing, right?
Yes.
And then we have to follow that, right?
Correct.
I cannot say, hey, He said 14, but I'm going to go with 13.
Correct. If you were to not follow it, it's not my design, so you're bearing all the risk.
Okay.
Whereas if you follow my design, at least in terms of the design itself, I bear the risk of it outside of some workmanship issue or something like that.
Okay. That's great to know. That is why we, no matter how small the wall is, we will either over-engineer and we will go ahead and let Eric do all the engineering. And that's exactly what happened on this one. And he's working with me on another one right now, not too far from this area.
Yeah.
I would never remove a wall without talking to a person who has the credentials to be able to do the math and the science behind removing some loads.
I would add to it that the credentials should be a professional engineer licensed in the state of Texas.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, as long as you're working in Texas.
And you know what you know what else I put in my contract? I put in my contract that somebody can stop my work. Okay. Like somebody can, while I'm doing, they can come and say, hey, you know what? We don't think this is right. That's fine.
Yeah.
But you have to back it up with an engineering report from an engineer who has a minimum of 4-year degree in civil or structural engineering and has been in the field actively as of today working for the last 5 years.
Okay.
If that guy tells me you need to stop, you're making a mistake, I'm stopping it.
Yes.
But other than that, somebody's cousin, that guy's this, that guy's that, you know, you don't have the credentials to back it up. You didn't go to school for this. We will listen, of course, but we will run it by our structural engineers, sometimes more than one, to make sure what we're hearing is true. And in the end, we will always listen to the guy who went to college for this. This is how we approach, including my house. You do residential projects. What else do you do?
Commercial, institutional, some hospital work.
Okay.
It's a pretty wide range.
Okay.
I'm not trying to silo myself into one little area.
Good.
Yeah.
So we deal with residential. If somebody is thinking about removing their wall or something, listen to the professional. I'm going to put Eric's contact right here. But that's it. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us, how important these things are. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.